안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. Hello, Ambassador Virgilio Paredes.
Welcome to my house.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure. Same. 반갑습니다.
So, am I in Honduras right now?
Yes, definitely. You're in Honduras and you'll see a lot of Honduras in my house.
Ambassador, could you introduce your house to our viewers, please?
Definitely, it'll be a pleasure to take you around my house. First of all, before we continue, I want to present you one of our painters, famous painters in Honduras, Cicerón. This is one, his style, very colorful.
That's beautiful.
And we'll see a lot from him. You can see this is another time painting. It's very similar.
Yes.
Very colorful. This is Benigno Gomez. Benigno Gomez characterized by two aspects. One is lavanderas. Lavanderas, it's paintings oriented of a woman that washes clothes on river and pigeons.
I love the vivid color.
Yes,
it's beautiful.
That's Honduras. Honduras is very vivid. Like for example, this is one of Benigno Gomez. He died a couple years ago, so it becomes very famous. And this is a woman washing on a river, clothes.
Oh,
this
yes,
is one
right.
of them.
I see.
This is my living room, my dining room.
It's beautiful.
And as you know, this is my son, Ethan.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 한국말 굉장히 잘하네요.
네,
한국 학교 다니니까 어때요?
아주 좋아요. 처음에 조금 힘들었네. 그래서 지금은 한국 친구 많이 있어요.
그래서 좋아졌어요?
네, 아주 좋아요.
Ambassador, is there a special reason that you sent Ethan to Korean school instead of international school?
Well, that was a very difficult decision. But I think that there's been big barriers between foreigners and Koreans. We have to throw down those barriers. And that's one of the decisions. The first 6 months was horrible for him. It was a big, culture shock. He came in crying, he didn't have friends. But after that, it changed. His life changed. Now he has a lot of friends. Friends come over and sleep at our house. And I'm glad for him. And that's one of the big steps we're taking toward to unite Korea and Honduras together. Well, Ms. Khan, I wanted to present you a little bit of Honduras in my house.
I see a lot of Honduran items over here.
Definitely. So this is a normal craftsman, Honduran craftsman. This is an ethnic group, Lencas, called Lemcas. So you have a variety, the designs. It's very traditional. Like for example, this ball is used by decorative, like flower, or is used to carry liquor, wine, kind of wine, or soju, Honduran soju, they carry. So you have a variety. Also, we have
Wow.
we are very Mayan traditional. Sure. The Mayan usually work a lot with jade. We have a lot of
I
green
love
jade
the color.
and white
It's
jade.
beautiful.
This is one of the replicas of the Stela Maya in Copán ruins. So the design and all the readings.
It's very sophisticated.
Yes, it's very sophisticated. And so we have a variety of things. Well, I want to introduce you to additional culture activities back home. Like, for example, I want to, this is a book, it's in Korean now.
Yes,
It's
it
been
is.
in 10 different languages. It's a new discovery we made in Honduras of a new culture.
Oh.
You have the Aztecs on the north, you got the Mayas, and you got the Incas. And this is a new culture. We don't know what it is. Some archaeologists and anthropologists think that this is a new culture that unites, brings together the Aztecs, the Mayas, and everything. We found this culture in a jungle, in the Mosquitia, it's called. I was the head, I was general manager of the Honduran Institute of Archaeology, Anthropology, and History of Honduras. And through our institute and National Geographic and because of other scholars, we went and found this new culture. So what we found through larger technology was 3 big cities. This announcement in 2015 was made by National Geographic. National Geographic was part of the expedition because on the Mosquitia area, there's a lot of artifacts, there's a lot of archaeology. And so they say that there's 3 legends around it. One is the Lost of the Monkey God. The other legend is about the White City. And the other one is about the Lost City. So because of that, many expeditions in the past, in 1940s, a lot of expedition scholars have tried to find this lost city, but never got done. Through technology, in 2015, detected 3 cities. So this book talks a lot bit about Honduras and all the process, how we discover, and the legend behind it. So it's very interesting.
What was your first feeling when you found the lost city? I mean, the new culture.
Finding a new culture in the 21st century is wow. Everybody thinks they have uncovered the rest of all the world, but finding a new culture in the 21st century, it's went wild. So it's a unique place. It's a World Heritage, near a World Heritage. And so we have the flora and the fauna. We have to protect it. So the archaeology, it's very complex. The access is only by helicopter. There's no road or nothing. So everybody done. When it rains, you cannot work. So we can only work 3 months a year when it doesn't rain. So it's archaeology with anthropology. It's a little bit complicated, but it's a very interesting area. This is another area. This is 100% the Honduran coffee. We're the 3rd biggest country producer of coffees of Latin America. There's Brazil, there's Colombia, and us. The Honduran coffee, we divided the country in 6 zones.
Okay.
That 6 zones varies the quality of coffee because of the height of the coffee and if it's really sweet or very sour. That I know of, Koreans like more sweet coffee, like chocolate coffee. So that we have the Copán area, not Copán ruins, but the department. We have 18 departments at 18 states in Honduras. In the state of Copán, we have a very chocolate, high quality coffee. And represented here, I have different regions. Those are different coffee with regions, different flavor, and different aroma. And be my pleasure to taste
thank you,
one
Ambassador.
Honduran coffee. It's a pleasure. It's really good.
Oh, it smells really good.
Yeah, it's really good. This is kind of coffee from Copán area. It's a little bit sour, strong.
It is strong and sour.
Yes.
This one is really good.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's really good. Well, I'm glad you like it.
Thank you, Ambassador.
Okay, our pleasure.
So, Ambassador, I've heard that you lived in many countries around the world. Is there a reason that you chose to be an ambassador after that?
Well, it's very interesting. Since I was a child, I always wanted and dreamed to be an ambassador. I lived so far in 10 different countries in the world.
Wow.
I lived in, most countries in Latin America. I lived in Europe. I live in Israel. And I've been around the world. Basically, since I was a kid, I wanted to be ambassador, as I mentioned, but not a traditional ambassador. It's more kind of ambassador oriented to bring Honduras to the world and the world to Honduras. So in that relation, culture has played a very important role through all my life. And the experiences with involving culture with many cultures that I live in. So I work in different countries, I study in different countries, and through my parents had lived in different countries, so I had to travel with them.
Korea is the first post for you to work as an ambassador?
Yes, it's my first, as an ambassador, it's my first post, yes.
How did you feel when you were appointed as an ambassador to Korea at the first time? And also, is there anything that you would like to absolutely achieve?
I've been in Asia before, many times, but never been before in South Korea. It was first time I was confronted to the idea of going to South Korea and living in South Korea. The first things that came into my mind, I said, well, what can I do for South Korea? What can I do for Honduras? Four things came directly into my mind. One is culture and education. If I can help exchange between Korea and Honduras, or everything related to culture and education, that will be great. That's one of the things. The other thing was trade, increased trade between two countries. Remember, South Korea and Honduras are on the other side of the world, so it's opposite, so it's very far. So if we can increase trade, that was. The other aspect was investment. If I can bring more investment from Koreans to Honduras, that'll be very helpful for my country. And the fourth, it's transfer of technology. Korea is known as a country that's very oriented to technology. Honduras is not. So if we can, move and transfer technology from Korea to Honduras, then it will be great. So those are the four things. I have many projects, I have many things in mind, but those four things were the ones that came and brought my attention when I first that I was going to be appointed to South Korea.
I see. Honduras is still covered in veil for many Koreans. How would you define Honduras in a simple term?
Well, that's very, very interesting question. From Honduras, I can talk hours. But the thing is that Honduras, first of all, we need to see the context. Where is Honduras? That's one thing. Most of the Koreans don't know where Honduras is. Honduras, it's in the middle of America, and it's in the middle of Central America. Honduras has a variety, We have a lot of mountains, we have a lot of space, we have a big lake, Lago Yohoa, we have nice beaches. We connect with the two oceans, with the Atlantic through the Caribbean Ocean and the Pacific. We connect from Busan, we ship, from South Honduras, we ship all the shipment moves, all the goods from Busan directly to Honduras, the ports of Honduras, Enekang it's called. And Honduras is basically mountainous. We don't have volcanoes, but we have nice beaches. We have, there's Bay Islands, we have three islands, Roatan, Utila, and Guanaja. There are blue and white sand beaches, always hot. So in Honduras, we also have a lot of archaeology, like we mentioned before, Mayan, we have a lot of gastronomy. And also Honduras, it's mainly, we don't have the 4 seasons that you have. We only have 2 seasons, the rainy season and the dry season. And it's always hot. So, and because of that, because of the tropical climate, we have fruits all the year long, and we have plenty of fruits. So that's a brief of what we are in Honduras.
I can't wait to visit Honduras.
It's really beautiful. The weather is beautiful. The beaches, especially the beaches.
Honduras is known for its ancient Maya civilization as well. And I've heard that Copán is especially famous as it's one of the top 3 ancient heritage sites.
Yes, through the Maya civilization, we have a World Heritage Site that was declared by UNESCO as a world site in 1980. That's Copán ruins. Copán ruins, we have only uncovered around 12 to 14% of all what it is. So when visitors around the world go, where archaeologists go to Copán ruins, they're just seeing 14% of all what's Copán ruins. We're almost 100 years of archaeology working out, but it needs to be 100, 200 more years to uncover and reveal all what the real Maya, Honduran Maya. The Honduran Maya archaeology in Copán ruins, it's based because it was like the scientific, capital of all the Maya civilizations. Copán ruins was, they were the first ones to define the zero as a number. And also they tried to work with the astrology. They were the astrology of the Mayan civilization. So they predicted through the stars what was the future.
I see. Now let's talk about our bilateral relations between Korea and Honduras. I know that before the two countries made diplomatic ties, Honduras supported Korea during the Korean War in 1952.
That's correct. Well, it's interesting. Before that, before Korea was part of the United Nations, we subscribed the Treaty of the United Nations in 1945 part. But since our independence, we were independent from Spain in 1821, the 15th of September. Our constitution, it's based on human rights. It's based on democracy, freedom, free trade. It's based on that people has to choose their own authorities, and we believe on that freedom of religion, freedom of movement. And because of that, we supported South Korea because our values and principles, their ties, that the values of South Korea and the principles of South Korea, we share those ties. And that's why we wanted to show the world that we were with South Korea. Until then, our friendship, our relations is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. Even in 1962, when we became, diplomatic relations, we will still support in anything we can South Korea, and we will do that always.
Since April 1962, our two countries have been maintaining such a good relationship.
Definitely.
So it's been already 57 years since we made our diplomatic ties. How would you evaluate our current relations?
Well, our current relationship is getting better. I've seen a lot of movement of people from Korea to Honduras, Honduras to Korea. In the past 3 years, I've seen a lot of in Honduras. Now they have opened their hearts and their eyes to the Korean culture. So we have seen a lot of relationship, a lot of official governments have come through COICA, through government. So we have bring a lot of people, London, it's uniting both companies, the idea, philosophy. So culture, diplomatic relations, a lot of official governments of Korea have traveled to Honduras. So I strongly believe that as time passes and year passes, our relationship will increase. The FTA will bring a lot of things together too.
Speaking of FTA, what kind of benefits can we expect from the FTA between Korea and Central America?
Well, one of the things is, as I mentioned, we're talking Central America as a market of 50 million people. Korea 51 million people. So what I'll think it's the movement of goods, a lot of commerce will try. So a lot of products, Central American products, will have it in the market here in Korea, and a lot of Korean products will have it. I think the transfer of technology will increase, a lot of investments. Even though we've seen through the years a lot of investment moving from Korea to Honduras because of different reasons, and Central America especially, because of the U.S. market, because of the free trade Central America has with the U.S. and everything. It's going to bring Central America and Korea even closer and closer. So we'll see a lot of movement of goods and people between Central America and Korea.
And I actually heard a very good news. Not long ago, Honduran police learned the investigation techniques from Korean police and used those techniques to take down car thieves in Honduras. And I know that this was all possible thanks to the MOU for the public security service between the two countries.
Yes, it's very interesting. That's one of many things that happen, and that's why it's bringing together. Korea has a lot of experience in different areas, and one of them is security, safety. For example, on December 2017, 15 policemen came over, and be trained by the police academy through KOICA. They're helping us. So they signed an MOU, so being trained. Attorney generals, the prosecutor office, our office are sending people to be trained here. So we see a lot of movement of not only policemen, but Attorney General's office, and other 911. You have 119, we have 911, movement of people. So a lot of MOUs are working. And that experience that you heard in the news about the policemen is because there's a strict collaboration between policemen, between militaries, between fire people, firemen, in different areas of government. There have been a lot of NGOs are bringing a lot of Hondurans to be trained here. KOICA is doing an excellent work. They're helping us. The government, the Korean government, it's helping the Honduran in different areas, bringing people to be trained here, sending people trained over there. So there's a lot of collaboration in different areas, not only the police sector.
Oh, I see. Now let's talk a bit about culture.
Yes.
I heard that Korean wave is big in Honduras as well, and actually there are 13 K-wave organizations that help spread Korean culture.
Well, it's increasing. It's increasing. Right now, most of the young people know what BTS means, So it's something that is spreading, and it's interesting to see. Before 3 years and now 3 years, it's increasing. The Korean culture, it's seen. Taekwondo is becoming very famous, and not only that, it's in certain universities. There's a university for teachers. They're teaching Korean language, and a lot of people are joining. So Hondurans are interested to know Korean as a foreign language. So it's a lot of things are happening in Honduras. It's very interesting because of the relationship and because of all these NGOs and all these Korean wanting to go to Honduras and establish in Honduras.
Actually, my next question is about Taekwondo in Honduras. And I heard that they teach Taekwondo as a regular subject in public school in Honduras?
Yes, definitely. In second, third grade, they started. That's been an initiative from the Ambassador of Korea and Honduras. I work closely with him, I talk with him, and he has an initiative with Taekwondo, and it's been accepted. I'm a very good friend of the president of Taekwondo Association in Honduras, and a lot of teachers from Korea are traveling to Honduras to train other teachers and giving classes like physical education at school. And it's very interesting. In the news, you see it as public schools are adapting, but not only public schools, it's private schools also are training, like part of the physical education, they're giving Taekwondo. Taekwondo definitely, it's challenging, it's becoming popular. Well, my kids are in Taekwondo, both of them, because of everything that involves Taekwondo. So Taekwondo it's become very part of the education. The young people are receiving with good hands Taekwondo.
This is my last question. How do you want to be remembered to Korea?
Well, I don't want to be remembered as an ambassador. I want to remember as one that loved the culture, one that feel Korea as a home, as part of Korean. That I'll see it through my kids. My kids, we're going to spend I don't know how many more years here in Korea, but because of my kids' experience the Korean culture, because I confront them to the education system, I'm expecting my kids to come and do their degrees here. Both my kids to come Korea and study at the universities here, be part, and if they can work in this environment. Korea, it's the present and the future. Asia is the present and the future of the world. And to be able to understand how to the behavior and to do trade, we have to understand what's behind the culture, what's behind the paradigm of the Asian culture. So I wanted to be remembered as one person, not ambassador, that did a little bit to break that barrier between foreigners and Koreans and try to bring culture together in a better relationship. So if I can put a little bit of my part in this society to break those walls, those paradigms down and bring cultures together, for me it will be fantastic.
Ambassador, thank you so much for your time and sharing your insights with us today.
감사합니다.
고맙습니다. And also we are really looking forward to your efforts to break down the barriers between two countries.
I'm doing my best. I'll try to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.